Imagine this, 300 orphan children quietly seated at long wooden tables, their hands folded in prayer, their eyes staring at empty plates. No food. No bread. Not even a crumb in the entire house. And yet, their guardian doesn't panic. He prays. Then something happened. What happens next is one of the most extraordinary true stories of faith and divine provision the world has ever seen. George Müller wasn't a rich man. In fact, he was once a thief, a liar, a drunk. But after surrendering his life to Christ, everything changed. In the 1830s, in Bristol, England, Müller felt called to care for the forgotten, the orphans no one else wanted. He built orphan homes, not with fundraisers or donor letters, but with one simple tool, prayer. He never asked anyone but God for help. And God answered, again and again. Every single day, George fed hundreds of children, without ever asking for a penny. He simply prayed and trusted God to provide. But one cold morning, that faith was put to the test. It was early, quiet. The kind of morning where you can hear your own breath. One morning the housemother enters Müller's office, concerned. Children begin gathering in the dining room. Plates are empty. Mr. Müller, the children are dressed for school and ready for breakfast. But there's no food. No bread. No milk. Not even a crumb. But George didn't panic. He said, have the children sit at the tables. Can you imagine that? 300 children, sitting in complete silence. Each one staring at an empty plate. There was nothing to serve. And yet Müller stood at the head of the table, lifted his eyes to heaven, and prayed. Father, we thank you for the food you are going to give us. A child blinks. Another looks at their neighbor. Silence. Then, knock. Knock. There was a knock. When the door was opened, there was a tired-looking man with flour on his sleeves standing outside. He is the baker. He came in almost out of breath. Mr. Müller, I couldn't sleep last night. I felt God telling me you'd need bread this morning. So I got up at 2 a.m. and baked 3 batches. Can I bring them in? Yes, please, Müller answered. The baker brought in steaming loaves. Children cheering quietly. Müller nodding in quiet gratitude. Before Müller could even say in, God had already sent breakfast. Warm, fresh loaves filled the dining hall. The smell of baked bread swirled through the air like a promise kept. The children began to smile. Some laughed. Others wept. But God wasn't finished yet. Outside there was a noise that sounded like a wheels creaking. A loud crack. Outside, a milk cart breaks down. A man knocks again, sheepish but hopeful. The man entered and said, My cart broke right outside, the milk will spoil. Can the children use it? Müller stands at the back, eyes closed, praying silently. The children again were excited as they went on enjoying their unexpected meal. Moments later, every child had a full plate and a full cup. The dining room that was silent just minutes before was now alive with the sounds of chewing, laughter, and awe. To Müller, this wasn't a surprise. It was exactly what he expected. He believed that God listens, and God answers. Not always early, but never late. Over his lifetime, Müller cared for more than 10,000 orphans. He received the modern equivalent of millions of dollars in donations, without ever asking. He proved one thing. Faith still moves heaven. Müller once said, The beginning of anxiety is the end of faith, and the beginning of true faith is the end of anxiety. When you have no way out, no plan, and no help in sight, God is still able. Don't wait until the table is full. Thank Him when the plates are still empty. If you're in a place of need, remember this story. God is not limited by your lack. He's moved by your faith. There is someone who needs to see this video to rebuild his or her faith, so please share this video. Also, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story of God's power at work. God bless you.